Dear friends, welcome to an Evening with Verses program on day 8 of Asian Literary Society's NAVRAS 2021. As you all know, Asian Literary Society's annual NAVRAS 2021 festival is a 9 days online festival of art, culture, and literature. And today is 8th day, the day dedicated to Adbhut Rasa. Today we are having one very talented and young author and poet along with us, Mr. Ayushman Jamwal. Mr. Ayushman Jamwal is a senior news editor at CNN News 18. He is a TEDx speaker and acclaimed columnist, poet, and author of Candle Lights and Silent Sun. I want to thank Ayushman for having time for us. Despite having such a busy schedule, he agreed to come today in our Navras 2021. So, without wasting more time, I would now request Ayushman to kindly recite few of his poems from the books Candle Lights, Silent Sun, or whatever he has written recently. Over
Hmm.
to Ayushman.
Yeah. Thank you, Manoj, for having me for this event. It's nice to reconnect with you and the other poets of the Asian Literary Society. And I know it's been a while. Uh, I mean, we used to jam at Oxford Bookstore and
Yeah.
other places in Delhi. And because of the pandemic, we've not been able to do that, and that's been something which I've missed, and I'm sure you've also missed interacting with other artists and everything. So, I mean, the pandemic has been quite a experience, if you will, something that none of us have experienced in our lifetime. This retreat from society, back into our homes and back into our, personal shells, if you will. But I always feel that for an artist, whenever you're writing, whenever you're expressing, that's something you anyway do. You anyway retreat back to your shell. But this time, what's happened is that it's been an extended retreat. I mean, it's not been like interspersed with human reactions, which tends to fuel the writer in all of us. And it's always that we go out, interact, experience the world, then we come back to our shells, and that's when we process what we've gone through, and then we put it down in words. So this time, that human interaction has been missing. So to a great extent, I always feel that the writing that has come during the pandemic, I don't know if you agree with me or not, it's kind of, at least for me, it has lacked a critical edge because of the limitation of human interaction. Because I always feel that, when you're interacting with other people, you tend to see the best and worst of humanity. One advantage I've had is I've been in the newsroom, and in the newsroom, given the first wave and the second wave, you have seen the best and worst of humanity. Those going out to help people, and at the same time, what this virus has done to us, not only as a country, as a society, but as a species as well, as mankind. And so that has helped me fuel the writing process. And one thing that has emerged, and one thing that is very salient when it comes to dealing with the pandemic, is that the human spirit is a very beautiful thing. And all the stories of people going beyond the call of duty to help everyone in this time of need has been a very heartening process. I think it's it's something about us that only in the darkest times our most noblest selves tend to come out, and the grace and the power of the human spirit tends to emerge at that time when we are at our darkest times. And so I always feel that the human spirit is elevated not by grand gestures but by very small acts of kindness. And those small acts of kindness kind of like develops this larger tapestry of the human spirit. And when it comes to that drive is in all of us. And that drive is something which I always call as the silent sun philosophy, is that we all have that power within all of us, but it's quiet, it's silent. Given the right circumstances, it comes out. And this pandemic has shown us that in that circumstance where people need each other to make it through to the other side, everyone's inner silent sun has come out and helped a lot of people, shine light on in the darkness on their lives. So I think I'd want to start off with reading Silent Sun from my book, Silent Sun. And
Sure.
the, it's the title poem of the book. And so it goes.
I've heard it earlier. It's very nice, actually. I've heard it in
Mm,
Oxford. It's very nice. Yeah.
yeah, oh, thanks. So it goes something like this. A power so great in a shell so frail, celestial decree from the primordial well, wading through the past with an eye on eternity, defiant, even on the edge of oblivion. I am the silent sun. Sleepless under the gaze of my fables, the empire of my zeal strong yet unstable. I seek no dominion over things, only destiny. I fear a life of static peace, unremembered, undone. I am the silent sun. I am no empty wanderer, abject and meek, in crusades and solitude, only meaning I seek. Gods and nations, I am tethered to all. They are praise of time that only I outrun. I am the silent sun. All the pain I have ever known, every joy, love, and faith reborn, all intertwined in my fragile veins. Beyond memory, this enlightened chaos will burn. I am the silent sun. No king, no slave, no hero, no prophet. I am that fire that is, and then no more. Chains and wings of my choice, a will no less or greater than human. I am the silent sun.
Awesome, awesome. I love the choice of words, and it's actually very thought-provoking poem and very good. As the first poem of the book, I really loved it. Thank you so much, Ayushman.
And one more poem I really like to kind of like share with everyone is this one called Mother of Exiles. I wrote it some time back. I'm just trying to find it. But before that, I thought I could share some of these other issues which tend to kind of like come when it comes to tackling the issues of our world. Uh, but Mother of Exiles is something I kind of really enjoyed writing. And when it came to tinkering with the idea of how to kind of like make sense of certain issues which are like tackling our world. Primarily when it came to the United States and and other kind of like issues when it came to immigration and the whole situation of kids in cages when it came to the United States. The Mother of Exiles is actually a line on a poem which is on the Statue of Liberty, where the poem says that it tells the world, give me your tired, give me your poor, give me your struggling. Don't give me the well-off people in your world. Give me your most desperate, your most the ones going through the most amount of strife, because over here in my land is where I will give them freedom to find a new version of themselves. I found that very exciting, that idea of uh, this god known as the Mother of Exiles, which was permeating through all existence. And on that, there is this poem which I wrote. Um, it was called. Let me just get that one down. Um, Mother of Exiles. I always feel that when it came to this notion of exile, it's a very personal experience, and no matter how much kind of fame and glory, and no matter how much reverence a figure or a person tends to achieve, you can still be an exile in the world of fame, in a world of reverence. You can still feel like an exile. And I always felt that, and I think you would also agree with me, whenever we've had those poetry sessions, when it comes to a lot of female poets, they always come up and they have at least one or two poems about feminism. And New Age feminism is pretty much mobilized through the metaphor of Ram and Sita, how he treated Sita, and what happened to Sita, of course, the Ramayana. I've always admired those poems. I always like those poems. I always think that it's an important message to give women these days. But I've always wondered about the character of Ram itself. That was. I don't think he was a heartless man. I, of course, think of Ram as a person who made a mistake, who let this notion of duty kind of like distract him from the woman he loved, and forced him, or like made him make certain choices which kind of led to the circumstances towards the end of the Ramayana. But I always think that he was a man at the end of the day, no matter how much he's revered in the world, he's a man full of regret because of what he did to his wife. So
Right.
I always have this. I have this poem which I think uh, people people liked, and they liked the kind of like the change when it came to looking at Ram, and it was called Rama's Lament, and I'll just read that out right now, because I always feel that even with the reverence that he is given throughout the world, he still feels like is the one now living in an eternal sense of exile, even though he sent his wife into exile after what he was supposed to do as a king. So this is how that poem goes. It's called Rama's Lament. It goes something like this: They chant my name, with fiery hearts they scream. They call me a savior from a wise mystic's dream. I bury their villain, wash the earth's soul clean. I just smile at them with a heavy heart, for I miss my beloved queen. They marvel at me and call me divine decree. They say I am a prophet of virtue and duty. They cling to me for meaning, put me in gilded castles, but I am hollow, just as that inanimate life, for I miss my beloved wife. I was only godly with her by my side. I was only a king when I felt when I felt her strength nearby. I was only a man when her hand was in mine. Only for her did I make the heavens kneel. Oh, how I missed my beloved queen. My father always told me to follow my heart. Why did my earthly duty tear it apart? I sit atop a golden tower as my people hope and pray. I breathe in these clouds, but they taste so damn stale. Oh, how I miss my beloved wife. Rebirth, this power may be mine. How do I redeem her if no other can play her part? I once roamed the earth as Narasimha, a grotesque beast. He protected his child. He had more of a heart. Oh, how I miss my beloved queen. I turned my back on her and she returned to the earth. Even death can't reunite us. My divinity is my curse. I see her in all creation in the compassion of our sons. They'll be better men as her love mocks me the same. Let humanity see even a god hangs his head in shame. Oh, how
Very
I miss.
nice. Very nice. I really like this idea of presenting Ram's perspective through this poem. It's very interesting and actually very nice. Thank you, Ayushman.
Mhm. And yeah, I mean, that was one thing I felt that needed to come out also because of the fact that if you read the Ramayana, um, Love and Kush, Sita's children, Ram and Sita's children, they were raised by Sita. They were never raised in hate. They never grew up to
Yeah.
hate. They grew up to admire him, to love him, because she raised them to love their father even after what had happened to her. So I believe that, that's something which eats at him till this day, because after he took his children back to Ayodhya, he must have seen the impact that his wife's upbringing had on his children, where they revered and they loved him and all, and they still do. And he has to still live with the fact that he sent her into exile, and instead of coming back with him, she chose to go back into the earth. So that would eat at him. It would eat at any man who's ever been in love and mistreats the women in his life, and eventually those circumstances would eat at it. I think at anyone with a heart, it would eat at them. And I think that perspective of Ram is something that's always missed. But I believe that when it comes to those that uh, uh, to push forward the feminist narrative, when it comes to art through poetry and everything, of course Ram is a great mobilizer of the message and movement. But I always feel that this perspective should also be given some credence when it comes to the kind of like the study of the character of Ram, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's a black and white character. No one ever
Yeah,
is a black and
definitely.
white character. Yeah.
And one thing,
So.
while I was here listening your these poems, one thing I realized that words of yours is mostly write on the romance, affair, I mean, love, pain, those things. But and you actually choose very strong topics, very strong topic on which generally scholars write. So this is something which I really like in your writing.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Thanks a lot for that. So currently, this one JNK has been in the news.
Yeah.
We've been talking. I've been doing the stories on it for CNN News 18, and primarily it's pretty much what was expressed in that meeting is pretty much the status quo, that we all must go forward. We all must kind of like work towards peace. There should be political consensus when it comes to elections, statehood, all of that. But one thing which tends to get missed all the time when it comes to talking about Jammu and Kashmir, and not in the standard narratives that experts might have, but when it comes to the wider political narrative, is the story of Kashmiri Pandits. People, a Hindu community which was pushed out of the Kashmir Valley because of radical elements in Kashmir. And they were pushed out, they were pushed into the Hindu dominated Jammu region, where many of them continue to live in camps. They live in camps in other parts of the country as well. And this is a community which, even though it got pushed out of their own homeland by their own, if you will, they're a community which has never taken up arms against the Indian state. It is a community that has always uh, respected the tricolor, even after what's happened to them. Yet all they yearn for is justice. And even if the pursuit at the end of the day is to have peace in JNK, there can't be peace without justice. So their story has always, me being from Jammu and Kashmir, the story of the Kashmiri Pandits has always impacted me, because I always believe that it is an injustice which never gets the light of day, uh, because of multiple factors, and politics being one of them. So I wrote a poem for them in Silent Sun. It was called "We Remember, Our Nation Forgets." So it goes something like this: We still see the fire, we still see the fury, memories of men turning to demons so clearly. Bonds of ash as chaos consumed our beloved valley. Driven out like animals, a purge without regret. We remember, our nation forgets. We still see our slaughtered children at night. We still hear wailing women and monsters in delight. Homes torn down as our claim was less holy. Legacies wiped out with one stroke of hate. We remember, our nation forgets. They rise against injustice. They rise against injustice with tempests untamed. In one voice they shout, hashtag, not in my name. But we're absent from their hearts. Their rage has a faith. Scowling at the saffron of our forebears with no lament, we remember, our nation forgets. Away from our home, but the tricolor is in our hearts. We pick up books, we salute, we toil for a new start.
So there is power cut at his place it seems. So he'll be joining soon. So So Ayushman is a very wonderful poet, and his poems are actually very thought-provoking. So I have also got opportunity to read his poems earlier, and they are a kind of treat for us because he always pick diverse topics and very intense. They are in-depth poems. These are so. Let me uh, let's wait for a couple of minutes, and in that time I'm removing him from the screen. And okay, he will be joining soon. So till that time, let's wait for him. And So, in meantime, I'm going to recite one of my poem and let me browse. Uh, my poem's title is Exhilaration. When the dark clouds shed the drop of tears, and the peacock will dance in the green fields, when the earth emancipates the blissful mirth and wet monsoon breeze will pass by my earth, when the lightning sparkles the moonlit sky and the sudden thunder will roar from behind, when you come slowly to nestle in my arms, and my restless soul will soothe in its warmth. I wish to be part of that moment's celebration, when my heart will submerge in exhilaration, when your eyes unravel your untold mystery, and I'll see your enchanting beauty finally, when I feel the warmth of simmering passion, and my desires would turn into conflagration, when your long tresses will cover my face, and your supple pink lip will look desperate, when you caress my gloomy and sad face, then I'll kiss your dewy pink lips slowly. I crave my love to climax at that destination where my heart will submerge in exhilaration. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes for Ayushman to rejoin. Let me see if he is trying to connect. There's some parts connectivity problem at his place. So let me go to another poem and we'll wait if he's joining again and let me browse. Okay, this is small Hindi poem. Okay, let me browse if I can find any other. Yeah, it's very small poem. अनकहा एहसास एक नज़र तुम्हारी एक नज़र तुम्हारी कितनी अहमियत रखती है मालूम है शायद इसका इल्म तुम्हें भी नहीं है उस पल को जब तुम करीब से गुजरते हो मेरे सहेज आंखों में बसा रख लेता हूँ मैं हर सवेरे वो कुछ पल ही मेरे जीने का सबब बन जाते हैं तुम्हें नहीं खबर वो एक अनकहा एहसास जगा जाते हैं हस्ती मेरी जमाने से बेजा पड़ी थी यहीं कहीं चंद ख्वाबों में मूंदे दिखी तुम्हें होगी यही पड़ी पर मैं तुम्हें पहले की तरह ही नावाकिफ पाता हूँ तुम आगे निकल जाते हो और मैं वहीं रह जाता हूँ जब भी तुम पर पड़े नजर अश्क छलक जाते हैं तुम्हें नहीं खबर वो एक अनकहा एहसास जगा जाते हैं thank you so much and I think he is not able to connect so I am disconnecting the session now thank you to all of you and he actually recited couple of poems they were very nice thank you to all who joined today's session it was 8th day of NAVRAS and thanks for your support presence and participation